Thank you very much for that introduction. I am pleased to be here, but even greater pleasure in commending you for what you're doing to serve your country and what you will do in the future. You have a number of veterans here. They represent different wars. And it's very important that we recognize these moments in our national history that were times of sacrifice and greatness. I also, among the family, have a grandson in your corps. I told him if he gives me a hard time, I'll cut his rappel rope. In the last century, Longfellow wrote these words. I leave them with you because in a school that I attended before going in the Army, there were emphasis on literature and on poetry. Longfellow wrote this in talking about young people your age. The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. That's reflected in many ways by those of you who have marched in your ranks. I think you're extremely fortunate to have a superintendent who's a graduate of Fishman. Old college mate of mine, Jack Kay, who went to Fishman, then Washington Lee, and served as a Marine leader in Korea. Jack, it's good to see you again. Let me mention a dimension of the human dimension that we overlook, and that is the meaning of history, how important history is. And so this morning, let's walk down the corridors of time. I mentioned that quote from Longfellow, but we should never neglect what Mr. Fishman did after the war between the states and Civil War. What he did to establish this institute, and we will never be able to measure the greatness of the contribution of those who worn this uniform, marched on these grounds, went into civilian or military life, and went on positions of great achievement. Mr. Fishman did, and he deserves a great deal of credit, particularly when he did it. It was a difficult period, the 1870s, when this institute was founded. Well, this institute reflects certain values. We are in the period where we're observing the 150th anniversary of the war between the states, or the Civil War, as it's sometimes called. Let me mention to you what a young soldier did after the terrible Battle of Fredericksburg. He was a Confederate soldier. He was a young man, probably a little older than you, 18 or 19 years old. He was a good soldier. The Union forces lost severely in a senseless assault on the Confederate lines at Marye's Heights. After the battle, there were many, many Union soldiers wounded and lying in the field. And that night they began to call for water. Please, because they were wounded, and it was very, very cold. The temperature had dropped down, and you heard these cries, and they continued in the morning. This young soldier named Kirkland, K-L-E-N-D, Kirkland, went to his commanding officer, I want to go over the wall. with water. He said, you can't do that. It's senseless. You will not survive the moment because there's all kinds of rifle fire across those slopes. Kirkland says, I want to do it anyway. And these commanders said, if you will undertake it, you do it on your own, and you may not use the flag of truce. And he didn't. Kirkland was given permission to go over the wall, the stone wall, and he did. And he gathered up a number of canteens, and under fire, he went to the Union soldiers that were wounded and gave them water. You know, when the Union ranks that were surveilling that area saw what he was doing, and the Confederate ranks saw what the soldier was doing, there was a firing stopped, and there was a great cheer that went up from both sides for Kirkland. Kirkland was killed at Chickamauga the following year. But there's a monument today to Kirkland at Fredericksburg on the battlefield, and it refers to him as being an angel. Now, I predict that in this group, right here, there will emerge greatness. It may be in medicine or law, it may be in business, it may be in education, maybe in the military. But here, you are being prepared for service to your country. And Fishman recognized two things, and it's true, that an excellent way to train young men in virtues and valor, and also to train them intellectually, is in a military environment. They may not like it at first, but the discipline that they receive and the learning instructions that they receive stand them in good stead. And when they leave, they take with them those great values. Now, in this moment of history, as we walk down the corridors of time, I would tell you we face very difficult and dangers ahead. The threats are different. The threats today come from different sources in this way. Terrorism is with us now. It shall be with us for years to come. Problems that relate to the information age and the cyber age and the complications of computer science and its utilization and adaptation to new methodologies which are vital. These are going to be challenges that you are going to have to face. You will do it well. Fishburne will be heard from, and you will never forget the days you spent here in the Valley of Virginia, overlooking the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains. That here you will learn things about yourself. Let me tell you, it's a rather simple way, and at first it may not seem profound. The card was produced that was shown to me, talking about what you can make of yourself. Try to be the man that your dog thinks you are. Because that demonstrates the deep devotion and love that animal has for someone that animal admires. And people are going to admire you, I assure you. You might go on to your next step in education. Whatever it is, you are a marked man. But it's the kind of mark that we need to see in our country. And we thank those who have served our country, and we honor those who have made sacrifices. We shall be in very good stead in the years ahead because of places like Fisher and many others. I thank you for having invited me here and the recognition that you've given to members of my family. My son Rob, who was in Delta at Somalia, my other son who was with the Marine Corps in the Persian Gulf, my daughter who could not be here, but to them and their families, I am very proud to be associated with you. I thank you for what you're doing, but even more, I thank you for what you will do for your country.